Hi, I am Lisa Greenhill with AAVMC. I'm the Chief Organizational Health Officer here at the Association of American Veterinary Medical Colleges. And I am here with my wonderful colleagues, Diana Dabdoob, Senior Director for Admissions and Recruitment, and Kevin Kane, Senior Director for Government Relations. And we are here today to do a quick video to break down student lending under the recently passed Big Beautiful Bill. So, Kevin, we're going to start with you. The first big question, when does all of this become real?
It all becomes real July 1 of next year, 2026. So we have about a year to prepare.
In academic speak, that is the 26-27 school year, academic year. There were big changes that we know. One of the biggest changes is what are the loan limits for professional degree programs like veterinary medicine?
Limit is 200,000 for graduate and professional students.
200,000, folks. We know that there's a lot of other information kind of swirling around, other numbers. Those numbers don't apply to you as a vet student or as a pre-vet student. 200 is where we're talking about. And in that 200,000, I think that is inclusive of undergraduate debt, correct?
It is, that is correct. This is the biggest change really is that cap and the elimination of the Grad Plus student loan program, because that was loans up to cost of attendance, and that has gone away. That will disappear on that same date.
Okay, so that's how folks were filling in the gaps for Stafford unsubsidized loans for professional programs. Now, things that folks should know, about 60% of our students come into the veterinary program with no undergraduate debt, right? But we do also know that those students that do have debt actually have debt slightly above the national average, which is about 36,000. So those students are going to be working with a little bit less money, rather a big chunk less money than their debt-free colleague. And in that particular scenario, students are going to be struggling, particularly if you're going out of state or to a private institution or potentially going internationally. You can still take those loans with you, but the flexibility that you thought you might have, you may not have in the future. And then the thing that I think is really important for us to kind of remember is that this will disproportionately impact our racially and ethnically underrepresented students, low income students, students from rural backgrounds, as well as queer and non-traditional students. Those non-traditional students who may already have loans from a previous career, this is something that you really want to think about. So Diana, we're going to pivot to you. What happens if you just don't have enough loan money to cover the expenses?
I think there's kind of two scenarios, right? For students that are currently in-state or paying resident tuition, there may be a bit of wiggle room there where you will be able to have your tuition covered, but we anticipate that you might still need about 50,000 to cover living expenses. So that's one situation, right? So if you have the ability to be in an in-state school, you may be relatively okay. For students that are attending private colleges of veterinary medicine or attending a school as a non-resident, things are going to look a little bit more tight for you. We do believe that you will likely have to look at securing private loan, and that would be to cover about $115,000 is kind of that gap that you would see. So where do you go and find this additional support and money? Kevin said earlier, and Aziza said, Grad Plus is being phased out. So unfortunately, that is not necessarily a way or a route to go. Private lending is going to be that option at this point. What you should do is shop around, get informed, looking early enough, talking to your bank, finding information about what that would look like, looking at your credit score, what that could be looking like, and how you may be able to improve it if you still have time before you are going to be attending veterinary school. At this point, that is a recommendation that we have to provide, or as things change, we'll be able to provide more information.
I mean, this is also a really constantly evolving situation, right? And so this is what we know today. The bill was just passed, signed into law last week. So we can expect a lot of activity over the next year as the Department of Education has to actually do what we call rulemaking. They actually have to figure out how this is technically going to work and who does what in the federal government. Typically, rulemaking takes years. So it's really unclear. We're not really sure what this process is going to look like and what the final options will really be for students. But in the interim, definitely talk to your bank, talk to credit unions, look at banks that don't currently bank with. This is the first time in 10, 20 years that we're back into the private lending market. So for this moment right now, in terms of applicants and pre-vet students, Diana, give us some words of wisdom.
So this is not the end of your dream, right? There is still opportunity to be able to go to veterinary school. And so what you can do now is get yourself educated, plan early, ask questions, contact financial aid offices, understand how these rules are going to affect you. So the more information you have, the more informed you will be, the better you'll be able to make good decisions when you're at the point of needing to make those decisions. Searching and applying for scholarships and institutional aid wherever that might be available to you. Private loans are an avenue. Make sure that you are aware of what those loans entail and what those protections might be, because they're going to be different than federal loans. You should still continue to track PSLF, and because changes could be happening there that might impact you in the future. At this point in time, what also may be helpful to you is understanding how much you've already borrowed if you're currently an undergrad student, so that way you know kind of what is available to you when you're going to be applying to veterinary school in the future. Also check on your credit, right? So if you're going to be pursuing a private loan, your credit score is going to be important. So look at it now, work towards improving it if it does need improvement, but the earlier that you can do a lot of this, the better off you will be in making more informed and better decisions about where you're going to kind of fill in that gap for your funding of your veterinary education. Again, we're here to support you. We're here to provide you with information. And again, this is not the end of your dream. This is just a pivot on how you're going to be able to support yourself and fund your education. And hopefully opportunities may be coming out of some of these things that could potentially be helpful to you in the future.
Thanks so much, Diana, with always the great wisdom. Definitely always check back at AAVMC. We really are going to be striving to be the best place for you to get information on financing your veterinary education. So with that, thanks to my friends and colleagues, Kevin and Diana, thanks a bunch, and we will see you in the next video.